What's up, everybody? Dr. Duck Vong here. I am a doctor. Here's my medical school diploma right there. I went to Texas A&M. There's my middle name. I'm an MD, not a PhD, not a chiropractor, not a dentist doctor. I'm a general surgeon by practice. This is my general surgery residency diploma. And I'm the author of 13 books and have a bariatric following. And I talk about coronavirus because my following is bariatric, and the number one risk factor is actually for poor outcomes from coronavirus is actually obesity. So if you're watching this on the replay, you can hashtag replay. Fast forward to the 5-minute mark is when I'll get started. But today I want to talk about this new press release from Moderna. It talks about the numbers for their vaccine report and what it means to you. So while we're waiting, let's see where you guys watching from. Haley is watching from New York on YouTube. Good morning from Iowa, Debbie. Jeanette, what's up, Valencia? April Day is in the house. Where are you guys watching from here? So we can get some people in here, my international people too. Eileen Fry up there in Green Bay. It's nice and full of coronavirus. We're gonna have to take care of you here. All right, Donna Phillips from Vancouver. Awesome. I got somebody from Pam up there in London. I told you I was internationally famous. Sassy T from Hawaii. A lot of people follow me on Hawaii. That's pretty cool. Oregon City. So today's big news is the press release from Moderna on their vaccine effectiveness. We're going to talk about that. Good evening, Alex, watching from UK. Moderna, this whole study was done in America, so we want to talk about that. Dallas is in the house. Kingston, Ontario. Lori, stay safe. Hit share for me. Hit the share button, please. Let's get these things out, this information out. Nebraska, Danny, Alice, London. See Karen, London. April Dawson, Ashley Romero. What's up, Ashley? How you been? New Mexico. Hey, I grew up in Longview, Texas, Indy. Mary, part of your tribe, listening from Columbus. What's up, Mary Lynn? All right. Oh, check this out. Kenny Boy's watching from Scotland. Thank you guys for sharing the button. We got a couple more minutes. We'll get started here. Rubinia Malone. All right. So you know the coronavirus case numbers are bad. On Friday, November 13th, we had 182,000 cases in America alone. Today is November 16th, Monday, November 16th. The date is very important for people. So, well, there's several companies, Robert. Kansas getting high. That's right. Terry from Ohio. Courtney also from Longview. That's awesome. Katie, Goonieville. No, that can't be a real town. Katie, watching on YouTube there. Thank you guys for hitting the share button. So we're going to talk about the coronavirus numbers. We're going to talk about the Moderna announcement that just came out. This is going to be a short broadcast. In case you're just now joining, I have these rapid test kits you can order just online, just below right there. Just go to facebook.com. There's no website for you. Facebook.com/Dr. Vong and message me. I have a special on them. These normally I sell for $5 for $500, $5 for $500, $100 each. So right now I'm selling them for $50 each, minimum order of 20. So it used to be a minimum order of 40. I've decreased it for Thanksgiving for minimum order of 20. So $1,000, get a couple of people in there. 10-minute results. You test it at home. You read it like a pregnancy test. No need for a lab. You don't have to send it in. It's a private. You don't report it. So I was actually listening to a broadcast this morning that there are some concerns from Hispanic people because they don't want to go get tested because depending on their immigration status, they have concerns over that. So you can definitely do this at home, but just know if you are worried about your immigration status, you cannot get deported from going to get a COVID test. Okay. So please tell your friends and loved ones that we need to get tested. Kathy's watching. Yeah, we're going to talk about that, Rabunia. So Sarasota, Jessica Allen's watching. So just message me, facebook.com/Dr. Vong. Let's get started here. Excellent. Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Duck Vong, world famous bariatric surgeon. I want to show you real quick my med school diploma right there. I went to Texas A&M. I finished 2000. All right. And finished my surgical residency in 2005 here in Houston. Okay, so I am a surgeon. I want to talk about this report from Moderna that came out today. I'll share with you my screen. So the first thing you need to know about the Moderna vaccine, and I'll do these real quickly, is that it's a messenger RNA vaccine. So it's just like the Pfizer vaccine. The technology, the way of doing it is the same. Now they're not the exact same vaccine, and we'll get into that. But they released their interim data yesterday. That was super exciting, and we're going to break that down. So the study itself has 30,000 enrolled patients. Okay, and they were all in the United States. So all in the United States, you had 15,000 get a placebo. That's basically a saline shot where there's no vaccine in it. And then 15,000 who got the candidate vaccine. Okay. And then this is a 2-dose. You have to get 2 doses of this Moderna, just like the Pfizer. And then they started looking at what sort of problems they had 2 weeks after receiving the second dose. Okay. We're going to talk about the effectiveness here in a second, but overall, the safety, the vaccine was really well tolerated, very few side effects. If they had any, they were very mild. I'll show you the press release here in a second. So well tolerated, a little bit of your normal things you hear about taking vaccines, you know, little body aches, not feeling well, a little bit of pain, soreness at the site, things like that, mild things, no major complications. But the big news is this: the Moderna vaccine seems to be very efficacious. For those who don't know, that means it seems to work. It seems to work really well. So 94.5%, and we'll get into the numbers here in a second on that. And for a synopsis, I will tell you that they are hoping to submit for emergency use from the FDA here in a few weeks after a second safety set of data comes. And then that will take however long it takes the FDA to approve that. For the EUA, could take up to a month. So we think that towards the end of December, but probably closer to the beginning of January, you will see the release of this Moderna vaccine under Emergency Use Act. They have 20 million doses they think they can deliver by the end of the year, 20 million, which means it's a double dose vaccine. So that means 10 million people, 10 million people. And we'll talk about that, why that's important here in a second. So thank you very much for sharing the broadcast, and thank you. I always love cuss words, right? Right. Awesome. Efficacious. So let's talk about that real quick. Let me show you. Let me share with you my screen. So bear with me just a little bit. All right. Okay, excellent. So here is the actual press release from Moderna, and it's called the COVE study. And let's get into the numbers, okay? 95 participants. So phase 3 of its mRNA vaccine, and let's get into the numbers, okay? Okay, I had this. Okay, so they had 15,000 people get a placebo group right here, and 15,000 get the actual vaccine. And these were all in the United States. So these are American participants here, 30,000 participants in the US. And what they saw was how many people got sick. Now, they also told them you have to social distance, wear a mask, wash your hands, all the stuff that we've been doing, right? This whole time, right, everybody? So then what they found was 95 of those 30,000 people came down with coronavirus. Now, remember, why is it so low? No, don't get bent out of shape, because Uncle Billy is going to be like, see, I told you it's a hoax. It's like, why did we shut down? There's not that many people. Because we are fucking telling people in the study to social distance, wear a mask, wash the hands. So you're trying not to catch the virus just like regular people, okay? So damn it, Uncle Billy, shut up, okay? All right, so that's why it just takes time. And really, that it hasn't been that long. So to get actually 95 people who caught it is amazing. Now, of the 15,000 that got the placebo, of the 95 cases, 90 of them were in the placebo, and only 5 of them were in the vaccinated. Okay, so 90 in the placebo, only 5 in the vaccinated, which is a huge difference, okay, versus 5 cases in the mRNA group, resulting in a vaccine efficacy of 94.5%. That's how you get that number. Now, here's the more important number. Now, they broke it down, all right? How many people had severe cases? All right, the severe case shows that 11 severe cases, all were in the placebo, and none were in the vaccinated group. In other words, even if you got vaccinated, even if you caught it, your case was much milder. That's really good. That's really good. And as I said here, the side effects, let's see, injection pain size 2.7%, second dose fatigue 9.7%, myalgia, that means kind of achiness, is 8.9%, arthralgia, that's kind of pain in your joints, is 5.2%, myalgia is like body aches, headaches 4.5%, pain 4.1%, redness at the injection site is 2%. So very nice numbers there. And again, here we go. By the end of 2020, the company expects to have approximately 20 million doses of the vaccine ready. And next year, 500 million to 1 billion doses globally for 2021. And remember, it's 2 doses. So out of the 20 million doses, 10 million people will get vaccinated. Okay. Now, why is this important? First of all, this is very promising. Okay. Let me do my typing. Of all the vaccines that are on the market, there are currently this is super important. This is why we're excited by this. And if you're a geek like me and you're like, you're interested in this stuff, this is new technology, guys. Messenger RNA. Moderna's whole science is built around messenger RNA. And it's a pretty young company, just 2010, right? So this is new science. There are no current messenger RNA vaccines on the market, right? So not your chickenpox, not your measles, but the fact that you're getting into anything above 90%, you're talking about the effectiveness of our old vaccines like chickenpox and MMR and stuff like that. So it's very efficacious. So I love this fact that because, at the end of the day, regardless of your politics and your belief, science still kicks ass. Yes, can I have an amen for science, please? Can you put an amen in the comment section if you're for science? Science is going to save our ass. And this is all brand new technology, guys. That's what makes this really, really, really cool. Okay, because it is science proving above politics. So the Pfizer vaccine is mRNA based, as well as the Moderna. Now I'm trying to think and talk at the same time. The vaccine is targeted. Let me write this down, because this is important. Okay, point number 2. Both of these vaccines, the Pfizer and the Moderna, both target the spike protein on the coronavirus. So it's called a coronavirus because it looks like it has a crown, okay? The spike protein is what the virus actually uses to attach to your pneumocytes, your type 2 pneumocytes. And that's how it gets into your cell, right? And so what does this mean? This is important because people are wondering, well, what happens if the coronavirus mutates? And I've heard that it's already mutated, and is that going to make a difference? And blah, blah, blah. So here's the answer. It's okay if it mutates, Why? Because viruses mutate. That's what makes them like hard to control. It's because they're tricky little bastards, okay? But even if they have mutations, most mutations are very little, very inconsequential, right? The example I like to use is it's like a book, like War and Peace, the huge 700-page book. Now, you could change a word in that book, and you wouldn't change the meaning of War and Peace. It's still fucking War and Peace. So these mutations that you're hearing about in the coronavirus is like the equivalent of changing a word in War and Peace. In fact, it's actually not even a word. It's more like changing a letter, like having a typo. You can have a typo and it's still War and Peace. So it's still coronavirus. So I wouldn't worry too much about the mutations. That's when you hear about people who are like, it's mutating. What's the point? These are people who don't really understand science, just on average. I'm not saying, if you do ask me that question, I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm just saying, that's where these theories and this sort of stuff keep propagating. It's because Uncle Billy and Aunt Sally are like just regurgitating words that they hear. Okay. So you're not really going to have these like it's not like that movie, that Dustin Hoffman movie. You remember Outbreak? You're just like the monkey is loose. You gotta find the rhesus monkey. It's not quite like that. Okay. So hopefully, based on what we know about other coronaviruses, other SARS viruses, they should be relatively stable. What we don't know is point 3. This is important. And this could change because it's science. We currently don't know about this. Okay. Oops, I had a typo. I got too excited. We currently don't know about lasting immunity. Okay. With my antibody test, I do test these people and myself. I tested myself last night on camera. But like my neighbor, his wife had it back in July, and she showed her IgG level came up, which shows past infection. And back when I tested her at the end of July, it was very definite line. The last time I checked her, it's starting to fade. So we hear these stories about your antibodies fading from coronavirus. So we're not really sure what's happening. We do have confirmed cases in the United States where the person has well documented caught a second case of coronavirus. And I believe we already have a case of someone who died from coronavirus after catching it for the second time. Talk about bad luck, man. That's not good. So we don't know about lasting immunity. So we don't know if this is going to be an annual vaccine that we have to get. Okay. And like the flu vaccine, but except the flu, it's like, because a lot of things can cause influenza or flu-like symptoms. So it's more of a guesswork. This is specifically for one virus. So it'd be, imagine if you had chickenpox virus and you had to, like, every freaking year had to have a chickenpox vaccine. That'd be crazy. Luckily we don't. One chickenpox vaccine and you're good for your whole life. The point is, we don't know what's going to happen with this coronavirus vaccine. We don't know if it's going to be a year, 2 years, 3 years, if it's every few years, or if it's every year or every few months even. Because we're starting to see antibodies disappear as early as 8 weeks. So this is important for the scientists. And trust me, they are keeping this under close watch. All right. Now, I want to talk about number 4, which is important. So some people go, we just gotta. Did the government shut me down? What happened? Did you lose me? Okay. So yes, we also don't know about T cell immunity when it comes to this virus. All right. So did I get my thing? Let me see. Hold on. Gosh. All right. Cool. This is live. I'm still live. This is not. All right. So, okay. All right. I think I said herd immunity and I lost my Wi-Fi. Okay, let me talk about herd immunity real quick. Okay. And because some people are like, yo, you should open her up. Open her up. Shut up, Uncle Billy. We gotta be like Sweden. Uncle Billy, show me Sweden on the map. You can't even fucking find Sweden. All right, so shut up. All right, and we know that compared to other Scandinavian countries, Sweden is doing much, much worse than Denmark or Norway, right, or Finland. You know, so herd immunity requires 70% of the population to either catch the virus or be immunized. All right. So let's do the math. We're just going to do America alone. Okay. And some people think 60%, 65%, 70%. And I'll just do the math. Let's call it 350 million Americans right there. And let's multiply that times, and I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I say 70%, but let's say 65%. So times 0.65, 227 million Americans would have to either catch it or be immunized. Now we're down to 11 million. I mean, not down to, but 11 million Americans have it, right, currently. And let's say that this vaccine is not out for another few months, which it won't be. And let's say our numbers get to 20 million to make the math easy. Now you're talking about, you have to subtract 20 million, right? So now you're really talking about 200 million Americans. 200 million Americans would have to get immunized, right? Which means now it's 2 doses, so you have to double that. So 400 million doses for Americans alone before we can have herd immunity. These are huge numbers, guys. That's why we need multiple vaccine companies, Pfizer and Moderna. We've got Oxford coming out. We've got all sorts of, we've got 4 or 5 companies. We're going to need them all because that's just America. Now we're going to talk about, 7.5 billion people on this planet times 70%. You're talking 4.95 billion people. That's 10 billion doses if they're all double dose. I think J&J is a single dose. But you see the numbers. So when these companies sit there, Moderna says, hey, we're going to have 20 million doses. That's 10 million people. We're nowhere near the 200 million that what we need to be. Does that make sense what I'm saying? So we're going to be in this for a long, long time. So 200 million, that's 400 million doses in America alone. So that'll take us all through next year. And then remember this is number 5. This is important. Vaccines don't save lives. Okay. Today, it's not vaccines that saves lives. Okay. It's vaccinations that saves lives. You have to get vaccinated. We have to convince Americans to get vaccinated for people to actually take the vaccine. Now, unfortunately, our current leadership has made this so divisive, so political, that a recent poll shows that up to 50, half of Americans won't take this vaccine. So part of it is that we have to convince Americans to take the vaccine, right? That's the first hurdle. Vaccinations save lives, guys, not vaccines. We can have all the vaccines we want, but if half of Americans won't take it, we'll never make it to herd immunity. Does that make sense what I just said there? Right? Now, number 6, you're about to hear this in the coming here. Okay. This is a logistics nightmare, guys. With these vaccines, the Pfizer vaccine has to be kept at minus 75 degrees. That is super cold. They're like pharmacies, Walgreens, CVS, your hospitals. We don't have doctors' clinics. Our freezers don't go down to minus 75 degrees. We're going to have to start buying and ordering these freezers. The Moderna vaccine is only needs to be at like minus 20 degrees, which most, not all, most clinics and hospitals have access to that level of freezer, right? So the Moderna has an advantage over the Pfizer, but still, it's a logistics nightmare. How are you going to ship this? Dry ice? I mean, if you have a dry ice company, you're about to go kaboom. You're about to like make a lot of money if you own a dry ice company. Okay. And there's some question about how long can it be refrigerated? Once you thaw it, once you unfreeze it, how long will it be refrigerated for? They're thinking maybe up to 5 days. But do we know for sure? Are you going to get injected with a vaccination that's no longer effective? We don't know. I'm not fear mongering. This is called science. This is what we have to think about, right? What happens if you get some vaccines ready and you have no-shows? Because people no-show. People will show up and say, how much is this going to cost me? No, I'm not doing it. My insurance doesn't cover it. It does cover it. What's my copay? People, even if your insurance does cover it, what's my copay? No, this is going to be free to Americans. Listen, it's not going to be free to Americans. Our taxpayer money has already paid for this. These companies have already been paid. These, anyway. All right. So we've got a lot of stuff we have to plan. Now, listen, this is even more important than getting the vaccine, right? What we need to emphasize is number 7. Because it's not sexy. You got to do your part, guys. We need to get these numbers down. You want to open up the economy? Well, get the fucking numbers down. A shutdown is the way. Quarantining is the way. It's the road to reopening. It's not a roadblock. We've politicized this, and we think that somehow wearing a mask is a political statement. What the fuck's wrong with you? It's the road back to normalcy. It's a road back to open back up. It's a road. You want to save your restaurant? You want to save your niece's bakery? You want to save the little neighborhood store? Wear a fucking mask. Quarantining is the road back. The road to opening up is through wearing masks and quarantining. It's not a roadblock. It's not a roadblock against your freedoms, dude. Like, what's wrong with you, Uncle Billy? Do your fucking part. Because if you really want this to make sense, you got to get the numbers down. Because what you're about to see is number 8. This is the sad part. We can open up more ICU beds. We can take the pre-op area and turn it into a bed holding. Problem is, we're running out of hospital staffing. We don't have enough nurses for this. We are running out of ICU trained nurses. You understand how this works, right? Like, the old joke is, what do you call a doctor who graduates last? No, what do you call somebody who graduates last from his med school class? Doctor. Because the joke is, he's still a doctor. And the same thing applies to nurses. What happens is, you can graduate nursing school, but you might not have what it takes to become an ICU nurse. You might not have what it takes to become a surgeon, right? This is just facts, right? The less competitive residencies are like family practice and pediatrics and internal medicine. The harder residencies to get into, which means you have to have better test scores, you have to have higher grades, are things like surgery, radiology, ophthalmology, like these higher, it requires you to have better test scores. Okay, I'm just saying. Same thing with nursing. I love all of our nurses. These are just some of the facts, right? in order to become an ICU nurse, you have to have not just the intelligence, guys. I'm not just saying about the intelligence, but the guts, the heart, because it's tough. You have to have a thicker skin. You're dealing with sicker patients. You're dealing with meaner doctors. You're dealing with critical situations. You have to think fast, act fast. It's a whole different breed of training, right? You guys understand what I'm saying, right? We are running out of qualified nursing staff, ICU nurses, ICU doctors, pulmonologists, anesthesiologists, the people who are really well trained to handle like really critically complicated patients. Listen, I get it. You love your cousin, you love your brother-in-law who's a pediatrician or who is a family practice doctor. Listen, family practice doctors need to stay in the clinic and try to keep patients out of the hospital. They don't need to be in the ICU running ventilators and multiple pumps, multiple IV things. I'm telling y'all, that's just how this works in medicine, okay? It's just like an airline pilot. You can fly a little twin engine plane, but that little twin engine plane pilot cannot drive a Boeing 747. You know, it cannot fly a fighter jet, which is kind of funny. Who remembers that movie, July 4th, Independence Day? Independence Day, and that little farmer with his little crop duster gets into this fighter jet and is like, up yours, aliens. That fucker can't fly a jet plane. Are you kidding me? Ridiculous. But that's what we think, right? Everybody has their role to play. You know, it's just like building a building. There's an architect, there's an engineer, there's a bricklayer, there's a concrete person. You don't want the concrete person laying your tiles. That's delicate work, you know, lay out the patterns and the tile. That's a very different person than the demolition team. Okay, we all have our roles to play. And here's one of the truths that you're about to see in the next month is the frightening fact that we are running out of staff, hospital staff. Do your part, guys, right? Wear your mask up, get frequently tested. So my love and prayers to all. Okay. Maybe he was, I forgot. All right. So, love and prayers and blessings to our essential workers, our nursing staff, doctors, nurses' aides, PAs, nurse practitioners, phlebotomists, lab tech girls, even the people who are checking you in to the hospital. They're not getting extra pay, guys. They're not getting hazard pay. They're putting themselves in harm's way every single day, and we have to do our part. They're not the frontline workers. Let's make this movement. I want to do this like hashtag we are the front line. They are not the front lines. They're the back line. The hospital workers are the back line, are the first responders, the EMTs, the ambulance drivers, the first responders, police officers, and firefighters. They are not the front line, guys. They're the back line. And if they are the back line, then who's the front line? Hashtag we are the front line. You and me, we are the front line. What happens with this virus depends on how we behave. It is time, as much as we hate it, to stop going to get your nails done, to only do essential stuff, to start ordering groceries online, delivery, takeout, curbside. If you want to support your local restaurants, go get curbside, but don't go into the bar. Don't go into the restaurant, right? We are the front line. They are the back line, and we have to protect them. Too much is getting through. Okay, so everybody stay safe. I'll be back with some updates. Go to facebook.com/Dr. Vong. Message me if you're interested in my home rapid test kits. I'm the only one who makes them. You can't get them anywhere. I have everything you do. You prick your finger. It's an antibody blood draw. You get results in 10 minutes. Just prick your finger, and you'll get the results in 10 minutes. You don't have to send it to a lab. You don't have to have any special equipment. Frequent testing is what's needed. This is what I use. I test myself, my friends, my family. I normally charge $500 for $500 for these, right? Make a little bit of profit. But because of Thanksgiving, I wholesale these $50 each, minimum order of 40. But then I was thinking, people need to get safe. Some people are not going to listen to me, and they're going to get together for Thanksgiving, even though I'm not getting together for Thanksgiving. Nobody's coming over for Thanksgiving for me. But some people will. And if you are, you need to test. So I decided to have a Thanksgiving special. I've dropped the quantity down to 20. Message me, facebook.com/Dr. Vuong, 20 for $1,000. So it's $50 each times 20. That's $1,000. Protect yourself. Okay. Love you guys. Be safe. See you next time. Bye, guys.